6 months of owning this bike, maybe a little less, and I have not tested this ARacer yet. So, plugged it in, I haven't done anything at all with the tune. Only thing I did, or I'm going to do right now, is TPS line. Learning completed. Everything's hooked up on the ARacer, on the app. So we got our app here. You probably can't see shit with that. But I have not tried to start this at all. So let's see what we got. It sounds really good. Rich. I can see a little bit of shit coming out of the exhaust. Probably too rich. Well, I don't know. It is cold out here today too. Well, kind of chilly. About 50 degrees. RPMs are right around 2,000, 2,100. According to this, AFR is 12.4, 12.5. I think that's trying to read from my, so it's slowly going up, 12.7. When I tuned this for my old 300R, we tried to hit 13.3 across the board. This is a cold engine. I'm kind of just waiting on things. That AFR setting that's in the ARacer app, I assume it's got to be coming from the O2 sensor on here, which is a narrowband. So, you know, however good that is. The nice part is you can see your spark advance down here. So I'm running between 12 to 14 advance at idle, and there we're at 13.3. So now let's leaned out just a little bit. That sounds and feels more powerful. Oh, now I gotta go switch my tires and ride it, damn it. I don't want to switch my tires because I was gonna go ride off-road tomorrow, but we'll switch them twice. I'm excited. Alrighty, got my street tires on. The ARacer's installed. Let's ride around to see how it feels. I'm almost wondering if the top end's gonna feel a little weird, because this motor revs out better on the top end. And I remember the guy saying the fueling was a little weird where he had to cut it back on the top for the old bike. But here's how it starts. Sounds pretty good. Pretty good. Definitely hear that on Decel. I definitely got some engine brake pops. Alright, so it's kind of what I was expecting, sorta. So it does feel like it's a little too rich on the bottom, like where it bogs just a little bit when I whip on the throttle. And then it feels a little too lean around 8.5K, where it seems to just lose a little bit of power. So we bust open the ARacer here, make sure the bike's turned on, turn my headlight off so I don't use as much battery power. So what am I thinking? Yeah, it's like these ones. So I think it's a little too rich right there. Let's bring those down. Just a wee bit. And pretty sure I have all this stuff saved. That feels too high. Alright, so as I'm rolling on my throttle, it's going up this way. I don't like these being so low. That's uploaded. Acceleration and rich. We're gonna change that back to 100, so it's not given any extra because it's so fucking rich in there already. There's no reason to do that. Okay, see what we got. Change the tune a little bit, so let's see. Hopefully it starts up. Now sounds significantly better. So I richened up the top end and leaned out the mid-range, because at my mid-range it seems like it was giving it too much fuel on Decel. Well, it should be cutting off the fuel, but it gave it too much fuel before it got to that point. It's just rich as shit in there. Flames coming out, we're good. Hey, fireman. I think that's all I needed to correct it. Well, most of the popping on Decel, but I still got some engine some popping on Decel. And I can hear it if I whip open the throttle and then push it back to closed really quick. It's definitely a little bit cleaner on the OEM ECU, but this is the first time I'm using the Mako, and it's definitely making things smoother. I thought it was just me switching from my old bike to the new bike, and I was like, man, this thing's smooth. No, it's the Mako helping. So the last thing I wanted to do is test turning off the deceleration fuel cut. Now, when this is off, I may get a shitload of popping. Like, it's probably gonna be so rich in there. But, you know, this is why we have these toys, so we can play with them. Start her up and see what we got. Done is turn off my deceleration fuel cut. Poppy, poppy, poppy! Good little test run, but we're definitely going to leave the engine braking on. I don't really want to tune around that right now. You can turn it off on here, and it actually feels better when you turn it off on the OEM ECU because you have more control over that. Alright, so Decel fuel cut is back on. That's it. That's it. I will have to make some log files and then figure out how to read these log files a little better on my computer, because I mean, they give you a whole shitload of data in here, which would be very interesting to look through. Like, I want to try to mimic some of the stuff that's on the ARacer on the OEM ECU. Like, I'm fairly certain you can turn the engine braking off more on the OEM ECU than this guy. This guy's either an on-off setting, and it's whatever they've programmed inside there. And the other one, you can change a lot more settings. You just have more control over it, but this is way easier to tune. Like, I just threw this in this bike today, and I started riding it 5 minutes later, and I'm changing it on the fly, and it's easy to change. That's the benefit of the ARacer. So yeah, we'll have to play with it more, but we'll leave it in there for a while. And damn, loving the Mako. Mako's feeling good up here. So everything's working like it should.